Hello again. Now, the G20 summit kicks off tomorrow in Bali, Indonesia. President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa is among the world leaders who are going to be taking part in the talks that will cover a range of topics, including Russia's Ukraine invasion, the shoring of global economic fallout, and as well as China's increasing global ambitions. But South Africa, has an intention with this G20. Let's speak now to our India correspondent, Rebecca Bandhun. She is in Bali ahead of the G20 summit. Good afternoon, or good evening your time, Rebecca. Welcome to today here on eNCA. This is a very important G20 summit, especially because it's the first one post the Russia-Ukraine invasion. I wonder if that will be the main issue. What are you hearing?
Absolutely, and there were concerns that this is really something that's going to overshadow the G20 summit this year. Really, there will be a big focus on Russia's invasion of Ukraine and these tensions globally, not only Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the Russia-Ukraine issue and the fallout of that, but also China and US and the simmering tensions there. And this evening, President Joe Biden met Chinese President Xi Jinping. They were locked in talks for over 3 hours in a hotel not far from here, discussing a wide range of issues. And this meeting was highly significant, given those simmering tensions between the United States and China. And the two leaders were really focusing on, however, trying to ease any potential move towards any kind of conflict. They really spoke a lot about that, although apparently Chinese state media reporting that Xi Jinping said that he drew a red line, when it came to the issue of Taiwan. So there are still a number of contentious issues there. But at the same time, of course, Putin, who was invited to the summit, he declined that invitation. So his absence is very notable, of course. And Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, instead is attending the summit, which starts on Tuesday. But the worry is for some countries, including South Africa, that a lot of the focus will perhaps be on some of these big global issues, these big geopolitical issues, and that might distract some of the attention, take some of the attention away from important development issues, focusing on food security, the problem of soaring inflation, the climate change as well, that these issues just may not get the attention they need because of these much bigger themes.
And climate change, COP27, it's in its second week. It's taking place in Egypt. Our president was there just the other day. But I understand, I don't know if you're picking up anything, that South Africa will be pushing for the African Union to have a seat at the table of G20, maybe even proposing that it should be a member. There's always been a debate recently about the composition of the G20.
It certainly seems that South Africa would be open to there being more voices from Africa, more nations attending the summit and actually having their voices heard. And this year, for example, in this G20 summit, Senegal is represented here. So other countries are able to attend and so on. But at the moment, it does seem that South Africa, being the only country that's part of the G20 that is attending with a seat at the table, does end up speaking for the whole of Africa, speaking on a lot of range of issues, and it's pushing, for example, for finance, to help address issues such as food security. So it's pushing on a lot more financial support for developing countries in Africa. And this means that it perhaps can't focus on some of its own issues. So there is a point there that it would help perhaps if Africa was more widely represented at the G20. That's an interesting proposition, but there's nothing concrete on whether something like that would actually happen.
Yes. Yeah. And finally, Rebecca, what do you think South Africa may get out of this summit? It's part of G20, as you say. South Africa as a country has a seat at the table, and the globe is facing so many challenges, as you've outlined right now. But as a country, what do you think South Africa could hope to get out of the Bali G20 summit?
Well, certainly it will be pushing issues. It will be wanting to be part of these discussions on something like Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the fallout, the economic fallout that is impacting South Africa as well. Climate change as well will be a very, very important theme. Also these issues of food security, inflation. It will really want to try and push these economic issues and try and get some kind of focus on these topics that would impact the country directly. But we'll have to see how much progress is actually made on these topics, given the fact that there is a lot of division at the summit. The theme of the summit is, in fact, recover together, recover stronger. But this year, we're really seeing a lot of divisions at this summit. The tensions between US and China, differing stances over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. There are just so many topics there that are contentious, and that's making things very, very difficult, and that could limit the progress that is made on the economic front.